Hello, it's Lisa again. Today I am talking to you about considering your options when you're ready to bring a pet into your home. Now, this is not a Sarah McLachlan commercial. That's the last thing I want this to be. This is not a you have to adopt dogs. Well, I have a rescue dog of my own. Getting a rescue dog of your own may not be the best thing in your situation. Now, looking at stats from the SPCA and similar websites, I could say that there are 6.5 million pets, dogs and cats, not including small animals like rabbits, guinea pigs, etc., that come into shelters each year. And about half of those, 3.2 million, are able to find homes. And another about 700,000 are stray pets that end up finding their families. Now, a lot of us look to bring pets into our lives when we move away from home, such as when we go off to college, move away to start a job, and we get kind of lonely. So we may get depression, anxiety, so we look for company and ways to help us cope with those things. And first thing people usually do is consider getting a pet. So, well, shelter pets are good options for college-age kids and young adults. They may not fit your needs, but adopting is great, but I do not believe in the saying, adopt, don't shop. There are many reasons why going to a reputable, responsible breeder is acceptable. So I would like to start off with reasons why you would go to a shelter and pick out a pet, such at like a humane society or another animal shelter. For the most part, shelter pets are what you see or what you get. Many of them are young adults to midlife adults. Granted, there are some senior pets and some younger pets like puppies and kittens, but for the most part, they're adults. And any issues that they have, medical or psychological, like separation anxiety, diabetes, kidney problems, they have usually presented themselves by this point in time. So you know any issues that you typically know any issues that you are getting with a shelter pet, rather than when you go to a breeder, you're typically going to get a young animal, couple months old usually, so they haven't really developed their personality or physically, so you can sometimes run into some problems that you didn't know you were going to be having to deal with. Shelter pets tend to fit the lifestyle of young adults better. You can better pick, like I just said, their personality that best suits you. If you're an active person, you can find an active dog. If you're lazy, you can find like perhaps a senior dog that isn't as active. So basically you can find whatever fits your lifestyle. Training is another thing that is kind of a factor. When you get from breeder, they maybe know how to walk on a leash and that's about it. But usually with shelter pets, maybe you'll have to do a little touch up on obedience training, but any training that you would usually need, such as crate training, obedience training, like I said, typically a lot of that is already ingrained with them a little bit. Granted, there are some cases like neglect issues where they may not be as developed in those areas, but for the most part, they're typically a lot better trained. And of course, in my opinion, purchasing a shelter pet is cheaper. Purebreds, when you go to a breeder, can cost hundreds up to thousands of dollars. And I believe with shelter pets, I paid $60 for my dog. My parents paid $100 for theirs. So, about $100, $200, maybe even $300 is about what you are going to spend to get a shelter pet, and that includes their vaccinations, spay, neuter, various things like that. So they're healthy and they all have all that done. Granted, breeders usually do that too, but there's a lot more that goes into that as well. They have to get compensated for, raising the puppies and all the time that they've put into that, ensuring that the mother and the pups are healthy as well. So, like I said though, if you choose to go to a breeder, that doesn't make you evil, like many rescue advocates want you to believe. There are many acceptable reasons why you could go to a breeder. So, A lot of people go to breeders because they need a dog that can perform a specific task. Some people like to go hunting, so they need a dog that they can train to go pheasant hunting, duck hunting, etc. Other people, like myself, need a herding dog. Granted, our dog Molly, who is our herding dog, was a rescue, but we got very, very lucky there. You often will not find pets that can fit your specific needs like that in shelters. Usually you have to pay a good sum of money to find animals that have been bred for generations and have the good instinct to do these kind of things. Also, there are service dogs. You can't really go to a shelter and just pick out a dog and have it be able to lead you around if you're a blind person, deaf person, etc. Shelter dogs are good for like emotional support animals, but as far as true service working dogs, you're not gonna find something like that in a shelter for the most part. Another reason you would want to go to a breeder is breed preservation. Like any other species on this planet, it's taken a lot of work by a lot of people over hundreds of years to get this breed into existence. I'm talking about specific breeds, not wild animals. But it kind of runs along the same lines. So it's more about preserving the history and such like you would want to do with, rare wild animals. And there are rare breeds of dogs that are almost dying out of existence. A lot of them are foreign ones that I can't pronounce, so I'm not gonna try and botch it up. But there's a lot of history that can be preserved with buying a purebred dog. And another thing people want when bringing a dog or cat into their house is you want to raise them alongside your child. They want their child to have a friend to grow up with, someone that they always know is there. So basically they just have a friend to grow up with. Or some people want them in place of a child. They decide kids aren't really their thing, but they still want to raise something up, so they get a dog or a cat instead to raise up as their child, per se. There isn't really a single correct answer for how you can bring a pet into your life. You need to do what's best for your situation. Shelter pets can work great for a lot of families, but it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. There are many situations where a breeder would be a better solution, and that is okay. So you really need to consider all your options before you just go out and pick one because, oh, huskies are adorable and I want one because they're fluffy and cute. But you need to consider that they are a high-energy dog that takes a lot of work. They need a lot of exercise. So maybe going to a shelter and getting a laid-back mixed breed would be a better option for you. But then again, you don't have to go to a shelter just because Sarah McLachlan says that it's what you have to do, and going and buying, say, a Cocker Spaniel would be, a better thing for you. So don't pick an option because it's what society has been emotionally played into believing is the right choice. Pick the option that's right for you. It's your pet, not society's, so make sure it fits you. That's my speech, so, the end.